Hello, boys and girls. Pearlo Wisdom here. And somber day. Somber day. If you don't know what somber means, it means very depressing. I got my ass kicked. I was up so many units last week, and I didn't lose them all. Yeah, pretty much lost them all, actually. I'm not gonna lie. I pretty much lost them all last night. I got just slammed. So we're gonna look at where we went wrong. Where we went wrong yesterday, because when you lose, what I learn is you learn. You learn from it. That's how you become a really good capper, right? And this is things that I've learned as being an NHL capper. I try not to say things like, oh, that was unlucky, or that should have happened, or whatever the case may be. The best way to look at it, I find, is to honestly just say, where did I make the mistake? Forget about lucky, unlucky, all of that garbage. Where did I make the mistake? So we're going to look at that. Some of the games I got, but too many I did not. And we'll also talk about the trades. That's why I'm coming on early. I want to have lots of time to talk today because there's a lot of cool stuff that happened yesterday, of course. Toronto kicked ass. The Carolina Hurricanes absolutely raped the Oilers, which we'll find in the coming months. Pulya Harvey is going to do amazing there. First, Red Wings and Senators, and I went against my gut on this one because I went against my gut, and the truth was, and this is something that I just gotta freaking get down and not go against. I find myself going against things that are just plain logical because sometimes it doesn't work out that way. Sometimes it's not. But the truth is, with Detroit, they were rolling, yes, but they were playing their balls off. This was like, we're going for it. And they beat the Capitals and they beat the Rangers. They lost to Tampa, but they outplayed them badly. But they had played 3 games in 4 nights. See, I took them the first game, and I didn't mind that. Because they played 3 games in 4 nights, and, they really played well, and it seemed like their legs were okay with Tampa Bay. But even though Ottawa won it, and there's kind of an adage that you always take on a back-to-back, you always take the team on the other side of the back that wins the first one. Whoever wins the first one, you take the other one the second. Now, this was a different scenario, though, because usually on a back-to-back, it's home and home. But this was like home. Detroit would normally have been home on a back-to-back here, but because this was a makeup game from before, they put them back-to-back here. And yesterday was 4 games in 6 nights for Detroit. By the way, I'm telling you right now, I'm not going against this theory against Seattle. I'm taking Seattle the next one. Detroit had been running on a high. They've been burning it, trying to make the playoffs. The coach had found his spot, to rally the troops and say, let's go for it here. And hope you have the legs. But I'll tell you what, this scheduling is absolutely insane for them. They can't beat Seattle. There's no way. They're 4 games in 6 nights after this just crushing. Maybe Seattle, but the Islanders, no. The Islanders will be coming off of a Western road trip, but still, you're playing 4 games in 6 nights again. And against Philadelphia, forget about it. You want to talk about a plus money play. Philadelphia's winning that game. 5 games in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 nights. Detroit's not winning that game against Philadelphia. I'll tell you that right now. There's no way. So looking ahead is a good thing to do as a capper. But it was 4 games in 6 nights here. Ottawa was rolling. Why in the world did I think that they weren't going to carry that into the next game? But I lost. I didn't pick them, and I lost. So, not much to say about that. Ottawa just absolutely rolled over them, and that was that. Oh, what am I doing? I don't want to go here. Next game, Panthers and Lightning. The Lightning are in bad shape, man. This I don't mind the pick itself. The Lightning had just lost to the Panthers 7-1. They barely beat Detroit the game before, which really they won 3-0, but they were outplayed. So, I mean, you put those things together, you got a revenge spot, you have a chance to put a division rival out of the playoffs, and they come out flat. It's very concerning to me. Like, they were, I think, are they just done? Are they tired? Or are they realizing that they got to conserve energy for the playoffs now, and they're just, I think they're taking breaks right now. I think they're having a, because the Lightning usually, they do that all through the season, but they didn't this year. They were going pretty hard all season long. And I think maybe Cooper said, all right, let's have a few nights of good times and stuff like that. If we win, we win. If we don't, we don't. I mean, something like that. But I didn't have the over, thank God. I did have the Lightning first period. I had the Lightning ML. Or in regulation, I believe it was, and they had nothing. Just nothing. I was on a live betting stream with the Ice Guys last night, and I think I bet an over early on this game too, and I didn't get it. Sabres, Blue Jackets. This is a bad pick because the Sabres often do this against bad teams at home. They undervalue them. I remember if you were listening to the stream yesterday, I did mention, I said, are they going to overlook Columbus here because they got Boston next, right? They got Boston in Boston next after this. But this is a team fighting for a playoff spot, man. The thing is, though, Buffalo didn't play all that bad. If Anderson is probably retiring, if that game wasn't really indication of that, then I don't know what is. If they would have had a really good goaltender, they probably win this game. But Anderson's just not that right now. But I thought Buffalo was going to come out harder. I had Buffalo team total over 3.5. They're a young team. They probably took Columbus too lightly. I should know that. They've been doing it on a regular basis. Why I thought, okay, today they're not going to. The reason why I thought today they're not going to is because you need every win right now against playoff spot, and you're going to be playing against Boston. That's just the thing. How do you look ahead against Boston when you are going to be in a dogfight? You may not beat Boston. So how do you look ahead to that? You need this win now because you might lose to Boston. You understand what I'm saying? And then you're going home to play Tampa Bay, who is not on a good run right now, and you're probably all right. Now you lose to Columbus, and you got to fight for a point against Boston, and then go play Tampa Bay. Playoff hopes are done. So I guess one way to look at it, though, and something that we can remember here, when you got a young team, they're going against a bad team. There's two things that I think happen in this game. I think it's less likely they looked ahead. From me watching the game, what I think more than anything is Columbus was just loose and having fun and playing, and the Sabres were playing a little tight because they knew they needed it, right? And they got to learn, like Boston in this situation would have destroyed Columbus. So as they grow as a team, they'll be winning games like this. But as of right now, it doesn't seem that they're capable of doing such things. Anyways, yeah, I lost 29 units last night. 29. Worst night of the year last night. It was bad. Next game. Kings versus Jets. I had the under in this game. I thought the Kings would run out of legs. Hellebuck being there. I didn't get to watch much of this game. I was watching a lot of other live stuff. I didn't have a play on the side at all. I just had the under. I did lean the Kings, if you remember correctly from yesterday. Because Jets are my sell team. I'm not taking the Jets in any spot. And if I would have faded the Jets and actually took the opposition, I would have did a lot better so far. And I would have did a lot better today. Kopitar had 4 goals, I believe. Yeah, 4 goals for Kopitar. Woo! And the defense is breaking down. That's what I said about the Jets. I don't know. I hear commentators and experts talk about how, Winnipeg needs a forward. No, they need defense. Pionk is having an absolutely horrible year this year. DeMello's great. DeMello's having a career year, amazing. Really, he blossomed into he gets better and better every year. Dylan is pretty meh. And I know, we like physicality. Yeah, but he's okay. He's like a 5'6", and they're playing him in a top 4. Morrissey's having a career year. I got nothing against it. Morrissey, I mean, the points that he's putting up and all of that. And he's never been this good defensively. And he's average defensively, but he's never been this good defensively. Besides that, Sandberg is just still young. I don't know what he's going to turn out to. Stanley is ass. Like, Stanley's not an NHL defenseman. And Schmidt is barely an NHL defenseman, getting paid awful amounts of money. So they're relying heavily on Hellebuck, and they're relying heavily on their forwards to come back and play for the defense. And they're starting to fade. And that's pretty much what I thought was going to happen. That's why I had the Jets as a sell team. The reason why I didn't take the Kings here was simply because it was a bad scheduling spot for them. When you start seeing teams lose in bad scheduling spots, you know you want to fade that team. And like when the opposition has a bad scheduling spot, LA had been on the road for quite a while. Let's look. LA, this is their last game of the road trip. This was their last game of the road trip. And yeah, this is 1, 2, 3, 4. Their 5th game on the road. And they just went through a time zone from New York to Winnipeg to play that game. And they outskated the Jets quite a bit. So what does that tell you, right? This Winnipeg team is in trouble. You cannot lose in a spot like that against X team besides maybe Boston. There's no way. They were playing. I didn't take LA because I don't trust Winnipeg, even though that's 4 games in 6 nights. They were playing 7 games. There are 5 games in 8 nights on the road with travel and a time zone differential. And LA beat you? That's inexcusable. Sorry, it's inexcusable. But I like I said, I so much don't trust the Jets. I didn't take them in that game. I did think it was going to be an under, though. I got to give LA credit. They had enough legs to bring it to an over and fight the way they did. Now, that being said, the next game that LA plays, they're going to be going the first game of a road trip. Oh, they're playing against Winnipeg again. No, they're playing against Montreal. I think Montreal could win that game. I mean, that's just terrible. That's a terrible lot. That's so many games in such a short time. I wish it was a better team because I would be all over that team. But I might even take Montreal there. It's just a terrible scheduling spot for LA. Hello, Derek. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you in the chat. Okay, so what's the next game I got my ass kicked on? Oh, jeez. I got my ass kicked yesterday. Tuesday. Come on, get up here. Kings, Jets. I didn't get my ass kicked on this. I had the under and I had the wild. I had both. And I had a little bit on the draw. So this was the one game. I probably should have. What I should have did yesterday is really stuck with my best bets because this is trade deadline time. Things are a little fuzzy. There's a lot of weird stuff in the air. But I loved the under yesterday. I should have put more on that pick. I had the wild money line. Islanders are my fade team in the East. I was not. I don't buy the Horvat deal. I don't buy the Islanders at all. It looks like they still might make the playoffs though. So because there's a lot of ground to pick up with Florida and Buffalo, but I wouldn't be surprised if they fade out. I still wouldn't be surprised by that. But and even if they do, like, are they beating anybody in the? Who are the Islanders beating in the first round? Let's look at this. Right now, the Islanders will play Carolina. They're not beating Carolina. How are the Islanders going to beat Carolina? Carolina is every bit as good as them. I mean, they're not actually. You know what? Their shot suppression is not very good. Now that being said, I think they're playing a type of defense where they try to allow a lot of shots from the outside because they have Sorokin there. But unless Sorokin steals it, Carolina's going to pepper the shit out of the Islanders. Like, Carolina's better at just about every part of the game than the Islanders are, except for goaltending. So, if they did manage to get through Carolina somehow, then they got to play. Let's see if they did that. Say Toronto, and then they got to play Toronto. Toronto would ruin them, or Tampa Bay either. So spend all that to get Horvat, and the best you're probably going to do is second round. The best. I just cannot see the Islanders doing any better than that, and I can't see anybody in that organization truly believing they can do any more than that. Such kids grow and lose and lose and lose and lose. I get it. I do get it. It's. If I was an owner, I would be, unless I was a young billionaire, I'd be like, okay, let's see if we can build a dynasty here. But if you're an old guy and you bought a team, which most of those owners are, it took them a long time to build that money. Are you going to want to do that? I get it. I totally get it. Okay, let's get back. Why won't it let me go that way? I don't understand. This pisses me off. I got to go through like 3 different pages to get back to the games. So yeah, I know that was a good game for me. The Penguins were a good game for me. I had the Penguins in regulation, and I had the Penguins money line. So I made a little bit, and I made a little bit back. I also had the Kraken in regulation. I mean, I watched that game. The Penguins should be destroying the Predators in that spot. I don't even think they terribly outshot them in that game, if I remember correctly. It was pretty, they should be rolling over 34-25. Not bad, I guess. They had a tough time scoring on Saros, but they had to have that game. It would have been just really just bad for morale, bad for everything to not win that game. Again, Pittsburgh's one of those teams like, okay, you're going to make the playoffs. By the way, I think I think it's very possible that Quick getting traded to Columbus, he's going to. I think it's possible he's going to Pittsburgh to help out Jari, calm his nerves there. I think that's really what it would be. DeSmith isn't really helping Jari all that much. I could just see them using this legend veteran to help Jari calm his nerves. And think about it. Jari's never really had a veteran goaltender to help him outgrow there. It's either been a competition with Murray, or DeSmith, who is still a young guy. So he's pretty much had to roll on his own as far as the other goaltender on the side. So I could see them throwing a 5th-round pick, bringing Quick in. And if he has to go into action, at least he's got cups, right? Maybe he has an out-of-body experience. And, Jari has a tendency to get injuries all the time. So a little bit of backup. And I think Jari, it's in the head. I think somebody like Quick they might think he can help him out, being a guy who's won cups and stuff like that. But they got to do something. He did have a good game against Nashville, but it was Nashville. And his last game wasn't bad as well. But we've seen this over and over again with Jari. Fully capable goaltender. But all of a sudden, boom, who is this goaltender? He's not even NHL level all of a sudden. So, or he's injured. So I could see Quick going there. Tuesday. They just don't want you to check the scores on this. They don't want you to. They're like, no, don't. We want you to do this. Bruins, Flames, and I had the under. I had the under, and it should have been, it should have been the Flames to win, but the Flames do what the Flames do. I mean, they can't hold a lead to save their life. By the way, why am I ever taking an under with the Flames? I'm not. I'm taking an under with the Bruins. The Bruins were a tired team. I didn't realize they were going to be that tired. Like, they should never have won this game. If you watch this game in the second period, I think they were outshot like 35-7 or something like that. People say, Allmark was amazing. No, he wasn't actually. The Flames did what the Flames did. Shoot right in the frickin' crest all game long. Holding their stick too tight. They should have destroyed this game. I didn't take the Flames, I can tell you that. I don't trust them at all. I don't trust them to hold a score. I don't trust them to hold a lead. And the Bruins, they never seems to be a bad spot for them. That being said, I think if it was anybody but the Flames here, the Bruins probably lose that game. Like, they were just exhausted in that second period. They came back in the third and got 20 shots, and then won in overtime. It's funny, the guy that they just got, Dmitry Orlov, he had a really good game. A lot of that was because he wasn't through this whole road trip. He came right in the middle of it, so he had pretty good legs and scored the first 2 goals. And Calgary just kept on peppering shots right into the chest of Allmark. Why didn't I have a save prop on that? I don't know. One of the reasons was I had somebody hit and run my car 2 days ago, and I had to go take care of it yesterday, bring it to the repair shop and shit. And it was stressful, frustrating, took forever, and I didn't get to really look as much as I normally would at the games. So that was basically it. But look at the shots on goal by some of these guys. Lucic had he had 3 hits. Sorry. Oh yeah, that was Lucic going up against his old team. So they stuck it to his old team. Stuck it to him again. And my future on Calgary missing the playoffs is looking like it's going to happen. I just can't see a team that plays this tight making the playoffs. Sutter's got to find a way to loosen these guys up. And he doesn't seem to be... If you look at Sutter before the games, The guy looks like he's waiting for his wife to have a baby who might not make it. Like he looks totally on edge and nervous and everything. You don't think that goes through the whole team? Can't have players playing nervous, man. Like, what are you nervous about? That you're going to lose a game? You can't be worried about his job. I don't know. Maybe like Mike Keenan used to think that you had to keep guys on edge for them to play and be focused and all that kind of stuff like that. And he used to do weird shit to piss people off and all that stuff like that to keep drama in the room. I don't get that philosophy, and I don't think it works. But anyways, Coyotes, Blackhawks, I had the over. I even live overed for a lot of money. I lost just a boatload on this game. I did have the Coyotes, but it doesn't matter. I mean, I'm not taking the Blackhawks for the rest of the season. There's no way you take the Blackhawks at all here. They are done. Canadian Sharks, I live overed this game, didn't get it. Had a little bit on the Canadians, but not enough. And yeah, I just took an ass kicking all the way through here. Like I said, I lost 29 units yesterday. But that's all right. I'm up 130 units for the season, which isn't bad. It's lower than what I'm used to, but it's not too bad. Not too bad. It's still 130 units. Not bad. All right, let's look at tonight's card. And this is a tough card tonight again. I'm going to look ahead here because we've had now 2 really tough cards in a row. Ooh, I'm going to look ahead. I'll tell you a few things here. I'm going to have a play on this game here Thursday for sure. Buffalo, Boston. I have a play. This card looks more like what we're talking about here. This card looks more like a moneymaker. I'll get all my 29 back in this card. I already said I'm taking Seattle in there. Oh, Calgary. Oh, that'll be interesting. I know what I'm going to do with that game. Toronto, Calgary. I know what I'm doing in that game. Man, it looks like road teams are going to be hard to fade all through that Thursday night card. It's going to be hard to fade the road team all the way through, and that scares me a little bit. Okay, Rangers versus Philadelphia, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Rangers struggle here against Philadelphia. They've had all that excitement of the trades and Kane coming and stuff like that. I think this could be an emotional letdown game. Kane's not going to be here yet. And the Rangers are not in good form. They've only won last of their 4 games. Yeah, they lost to Washington in what wasn't a bad spot. They lost to Detroit when they were rolling, and they lost to Winnipeg. I mean, that's just inexcusable on the road. Was that the only game that Winnipeg won on the road that year? For that? Oh, they lost to Winnipeg at home. And they've been doing a lot of road here, a lot of being on the road. That's part of the reason here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 20. 1 game at home. A little sandwich spot with LA and played against LA, but they won their last game 5-2 against LA. Who was on, again, on a fairly it's the second last game of a road swing. And, not really a good spot. But you have to wonder now, will they be able to rebound off that win? The problem is after that win, they've had 26 27, 28. 2 days off at home after a long western sort of eastern road trip. Played Los Angeles on coming back off of that on a back-to-back. That was actually a really good win against LA, even though LA was in a bad spot because they weren't in a good spot. And they won fairly. I think Quick was in net though, so. Whether they had, I think they own Philadelphia head-to-head. Yeah. And Philadelphia, what have they been doing? They've been sucking is what they've been doing. They've had a couple days off since their last game, and I believe they lost that game. Because they've lost a lot. 3 in a row. Lost to Edmonton on the Western road trip. Came home, played Montreal, then had to go on the road against New Jersey, and now come back home again against the Rangers after 2 days rest. I think this is going to be a fight. I mean, they're. I think it's going to be a fight. See if we got starting goaltenders. If Shesterkin's in net, I think I'd go the under here. Yeah, I think the under might be the play. They're putting Shesterkin in the first game of the back-to-back. I think they're playing Montreal tomorrow, aren't they? Ottawa. So I want this game against Philly. I think I lean the under. And the side, I mean, it's hard not to go against the Rangers, let's face it. Like, they just stacked up their lineup. They're the better team, no doubt about that. But Carter Hart at home is really good. And Shesterkin is really good. Gotta visualize Philadelphia. Coming off a win. We play Ottawa next. Yeah, if the Rangers do get up, they're probably going to try to shut it down and save some energy for Ottawa. The Rangers are fairly set in their spot. I think Philadelphia could surprise here. I just have that gut feeling. It's my gut. Toronto, Edmonton. Are they putting Campbell in here? Like I said, this card is tough. I may be fading Samsonov and possibly Skinner. Calgary's on a back-to-back. They're putting Samsonov in tonight. I mean, Toronto just got a whole bunch of great players. The thing about that is it takes a bit for them to gel. However, it looks like Tavares is gelling really well already with his line mates. Maybe it's because I got my ass kicked yesterday and I'm a little indecisive, but Toronto, minus 137. They're going to probably put Campbell against his old team, and I just don't trust Campbell in that situation. I know Toronto and Edmonton usually play to the under. And going to an Edmonton game with Toronto there, it's almost like Toronto's got home ice advantage for the fans. It's crazy. It's pretty crazy, actually. It's almost like they got home ice advantage. Edmonton just lost. Edmonton coming off a loss. Toronto's on a, let's see, they just were at home for a long stretch, right? They beat Buffalo, they beat Minnesota, beat Seattle handily, and they're on this long road trip. They've got a very beatable Calgary, Vancouver after that. And they're putting their best goaltender here, 26, 27, 28, 29. I think this could be a draw. Edmonton's going, Edmonton's probably going to be feeling pretty good that they got Ekholm in there. My hardest thing was here is it's so hard to trust Edmonton in the game. That's my biggest problem here with this game. It's so hard to trust Edmonton. You watching that while shaving? It's so hard to trust Edmonton. This is why I like doing these videos, is because I get to blurt out shit that's inside of me. I just have a hard time trusting Edmonton, even though it's probably a spot where Edmonton should win. Especially, you know what, if they put Campbell in net, though, I'm taking Toronto. That's it. I just flat out. I would put Skinner in net. I don't think Campbell is in a mental space to go against his ex-team and all that shit like that. Toronto are 5-1 in their last 6 games, 6-1 in their last 7 games against Edmonton. And they're 9-1 straight up in their last 10 games from playing on the road against Edmonton. And that doesn't surprise me. And Edmonton's not in good form. Now, I'm taking Toronto. I don't like the juice, though. It's not a great spot, but I'm going to take Toronto. Minus 128? Okay, it's okay. I'll take Toronto. I think money's been coming in on Edmonton since they grabbed Ekholm, but Ekholm's going to take a while to adjust. Ekholm hasn't seen a defense this shitty. I'm sorry. What's his, it's going to be an eye-opener for Ekholm. I could see Ekholm after the game going, okay, we got a lot of fucking work to do. Oh my God. I mean, Ekholm is used to a very well thought out systems. And he's going to go into Edmonton where forwards come back if they feel like it, or if they're not too tired. Your defense partner is going to be, if they give him Nurse as a defense partner, he's got to watch Nurse just, you got to get it, block a shot. He's going to lose his fucking mind, man. I don't see Ekholm making Nurse better in one game. Let's put it that way. I still think the defense is going to be shit for Edmonton. So I'm going to go Toronto first period. And I know these teams usually play to the under. I mean, look at the lineup you got going on here for Toronto that's going up against this team. Let's just look at it. They've actually had some time to play with each other, except for McCabe. But if you ask me which team I trust more in this spot, I'm saying Toronto, man. O'Reilly has had, like, you got O'Reilly, Tavares, and Nylander, okay? Bunting, Matthews, Marner. McCabe is going to be playing on the left side with Brody. What the hell is Justin Holl doing in the lineup? Are you fucking kidding me? You got Connor Timmins, Luke Shen. Well, Luke Shen and Holl are about the same, I guess. Liljegren should be up there. What's Holl doing in the up beside Riley? Anyways, should be Brody and Riley. McCabe and maybe Liljegren, but whatever. On paper, Toronto smashes his lineup. But there's something deep down inside of me that thinks that Edmonton can pull this out for some reason. And there's also something deep down inside of me that Toronto gets ahead early and just doesn't look back. Because Campbell is, if they put Campbell in especially. They lost to Boston 3-2, and they should have lost that game. They've lost to Columbus. That was on the road, right? Then their first game back from an Eastern road trip, they play Boston, and they keep themselves in it. Don't look now, too. Edmonton has lost six of their last 8 games, and 7 of their last 10. 7 of their last 10 games, Edmonton has lost. Most of those being on the road. I'm taking Toronto. I think Toronto keeps on. I think they're selling Toronto short here, and they're giving Edmonton too much credit. Edmonton right now is McDavid and whatever. I'm taking Toronto. Man, it took a long time to come to that. It was a tough game because Edmonton should win in that spot. I just wanted to cover all the bases of that. Dallas is just playing absolutely horrible here. If you're going to take Dallas, Arizona's coming off of a back-to-back. And the goaltender they're going to be using has been hotter than shit. Except for the last game I think he played. But he's also very streaky. Where is the goaltender? Did I just click off my left wing lock? I guess I did. Yeah, everyone bet Vegas so you can get the odds up. That's always good. Yeah, I just can't trust Edmonton. I can't, and I'm not. I'm taking Toronto. Connor Ingram. He's brought his, he has been playing really well as of late. Jake Ottinger hasn't. And you can make a whole lot of cases where the Stars should absolutely destroy the Coyotes today. And I really think that's the way you have to look at it. But Man, it's hard to trust Dallas right now. They look like they're completely out of shape. They look unconditioned. I'm probably going to look at shot props for this game, like Robertson over 3.5 shots or something like that. They have owned Arizona, but they're 1-6 in their last 7. They lost to Vancouver. Nobody loses to Vancouver. What the hell? They barely beat Vegas. They lost to Chicago, Columbus, Minnesota, all because they weren't able to score. Now, I guess the good thing you can say is they did seem to be getting their scoring back, even in the loss to Vancouver. Arizona's just god-awful on the road. If they get wins, it's at home. I would take Dallas, but I mean, you get what, minus 300 and something like that. Take shot prop. I could actually see this being an over because Ottinger hasn't been playing very well. Arizona can pot a couple. Their defense is bad. I could see it being an over, actually. Yeah. I just can't take Arizona back-to-back on the road against X team, against any team. This is a team that's getting tired fast. They got a lot of guys out there on their team that haven't been used to playing 82. It's probably just a fade game. Frick, maybe even a draw. Dallas has been playing to a draw over and over and over and over again. They could be, are they so bad that Arizona comes in on a back-to-back and they still can't get it together? Connor Ingram saves prop might be a good one. I would think that Dallas would be peppering them. All right, Colorado, New Jersey. I'm going Colorado. Make it short and sweet here. They're just too much on a roll. I know New Jersey just got Meyer, but Meyer hasn't been able to play with his teammates yet. It's going to take a little bit. I know Nico Hischier shots prop. He's going like way over his shots, like 5-6 shots a game. He's just shooting like a banshee right now. So I would do that. But I'll take Colorado, and I'll take a little bit of Colorado on regulation. I just like their flow right now. Not to mention Vanacek has been up and down. Vanacek has been kind of up and down. The Oddshark says that New Jersey's going to win this game. I know they usually play to the under. I could see an under. I don't really like the total. Colorado has owned them. Yeah, what New Jersey's 1-9 straight up in their last 10 games playing on the road against Colorado. And Colorado is just freaking flying right now. Like, they beat Vegas 3-0, Calgary 4-1, Edmonton 5-1, St. Louis 4-1. They haven't been allowing goals except for Edmonton. And they're one of those teams where they'll play it any way you want and still win the game. New Jersey, I mean, they're good. They trounced Philadelphia. They beat LA on the road, which was a good win. Like, I think New Jersey will definitely keep this close. I don't think it's going to be a blowout by any stretch. And they're a good road team. That's the other thing, is New Jersey is a good road team. They're actually a better road team than they are a home team. But they're on a pretty good run right now. Coming off of Pittsburgh. And they got Vegas after this in 2, and then Arizona. and then back for Toronto. Colorado needs this more, though. No, not really. They're trying to win the division. I think Colorado's going to come out hot. If it's a 6, first period over would probably be a good look here. I could see both teams winning. And I kind of lean to the over just because of I know they usually play to the under, and Colorado's been more of an under team. But I think New Jersey's going to press them a lot here offensively. And they have a tendency to follow what they have a tendency to go with the game that the other team gives them, and then put their own spin on it. New Jersey has scored over 4 goals. 2, 3, 4, 5 straight. But, I mean, against poor defensive teams, too. Pittsburgh, Winnipeg, Montreal, Los Angeles. Los Angeles is sort of an over team. Philadelphia. Now they're coming into Colorado. Could be tight. It's a tough card. But I'm going to take Colorado at home. Washington, Anaheim. I would just throw a bit on Anaheim here. Washington just had Orlov leave. Anaheim's been winning some games. I mean, most of the teams have been, like, if you watch these Anaheim games, there's not much heart in it. But I don't think there's much heart in Washington right now. They're pretty much out of the playoffs. Anaheim has owned Washington here. Washington has been 2-5 in their last 7 on the road. They're only 1-7. Like, I can't take Washington here. This banged up lineup with, Sandin may not play that game, and even if he does, it's going to take a while for him to get adjusted to. Anaheim's had a couple wins here just recently. I think it'll be a boring game. That's what I think is going to happen. It's going to be a boring game. That's my prediction. Can you get some odds on that? Yeah, they beat Chicago. They won in Carolina. Oh, bad thing. They beat Washington at home. It's kind of a revenge spot. One of the reasons why they beat Washington at home is Gibson was in net. Gibson plays well against Washington. I'd throw some money on Anaheim. What the hell? You're going to take Washington right now against anybody on the road after losing a lot of their players and all that shit like that, and, wrestling with that idea in their mind that they're kind of in a sort of rebuild. I'm sure the owner has told them, I don't believe they're in a rebuild. They're just going to get some young players that can play, like Sandin, and then they're going to load up with whatever cap space they have and do it again. Pretty sure that's what they're going to do. Carolina versus Vegas, and Joe, I agree with you. I'm on Carolina here. I just don't see where Vegas can. Vegas is not looking good at all. Not looking good at all. I would lean the under, too. I would go Carolina in the under. But, Vegas are 5-1 straight up in their last 6 games at home, though. So, most of those, they've lost 3 of their last 4 against, Vegas lost to Dallas, and Dallas is ass right now. Colorado, put on a clinic against them, and I think that was in Colorado, though. And now they're coming home to play against Carolina, who basically plays a lot like Colorado. So, give me Carolina money line and the under. I don't know. Not everybody was around in the land today, unfortunately. Maybe I started too early. But since I'm here, why not? If anybody's listening, I'm going to grab a coffee and I'll be right back. And I'm going to talk about, I said I would talk about all the trades from yesterday. So I'm going to talk about it, what I think about them. I'll see if there's any new ones yet. I haven't looked that up. Oh, Colorado Avalanche acquire Lars Eller. Nice pickup. Okay, I'm back. Just grabbed a coffee. Avalanche acquire, what are they? Lars Eller. It doesn't say what they gave up for it, but nice pickup. Edmonton Oilers looking to add a forward. Bukestad. What the hell do you want with Bukestad? That's who they're going to pick up for sure. Nick Bukestad. Guy can't do shit. Can't do nothing. Oh, he's big. So he's terrible. He's absolutely terrible. And I know that's what they're going to take because he's big and he can wear the opposition down or whatever the case may be. I'm sorry. I just don't. If you can't play defense, I don't want you on my fucking team. I wish the Oilers would be able to get this, but they don't because they do not care about defense in Edmonton. They don't. Bertuzzi's not bad. I would go with Bertuzzi. But, I mean, he makes a lot of money. But if you're going out to get Bukestad, just don't. Just don't get anybody. It don't matter. Like, you don't. Save your assets. If Bertuzzi was in that, I believe Yamamoto would have to be part of that deal. Detroit could retain because it's only for this year. And then, I mean, it would be a pure rental, I would believe. I don't think how they could possibly sign him after that. It is the kind of guy. Now, that's the kind of guy I could get my head or I could get behind. But I hear he's asking for like $8 million or something like that. But he's had a really rough year. They're asking for a first-round pick. That's it? Just a first-round pick for Bertuzzi? They'd have to give up their 2024 for a rental Bertuzzi. Does Bertuzzi put Edmonton over the top? No, I don't think so. I'm not doing it. And yeah, Bukestad for a 5th or whatever. He's just a, yeah, I don't know. The Dylan Larkin extension. Of course Dylan Larkin's going to get extended. No doubt about it. This is the one. And oh yeah, by the way, I'm doing my video Demko traded video, but the one I do after that will probably be this one if I have time before the deadline. Ivan Provorov are taking calls on Ivan Provorov. In fact, I just did this one not too long ago. And I still think Provorov has got a lot of good in him. Somebody's going to pan out for that. I don't know. They're asking a lot, I imagine. But if he's out there, now there's going to be a fight for whoever in Chychrun. Who would go? If he would go somewhere, where would he go right now? If they're going to trade him now. Oddly enough, I could see the Washington Capitals, but they're within the division. That's the problem I have with that. Because it looks like they're loading up on young defensemen as much as they possibly can. Vancouver Canucks should be interested here. If Philadelphia is out looking for Provorov, I mean, it's not really a lefty that they need, I don't believe. But I mean, he's better than just about anybody else they're going to put in there. And they got pieces they can get back. The only thing they don't have is defensemen to get back, and I think Philly would want a defenseman in return there. But interesting. So Vancouver would be one I would be interested there. I imagine there's probably some teams in the East that would want to. Who else could it be? I could see the Columbus Blue Jackets being interested. Again, that's within the division, though. Winnipeg Jets, for sure, would be on the phone there. If he wouldn't mind going to Winnipeg. For sure. Los Angeles should have been, but they got Gavrikov instead. And I guess I should talk about that. I mean, what a terrible thing to do to your, one of the greatest goaltenders of your all time of your organization. Send him off to Columbus for Korpisalo and Gavrikov. Does that really put you over the top? Like, now you've got the goaltending to win a cup? I don't think so. Like, Korpisalo has been playing way better since he came back from injury, but I still don't think I'd do that deal. No, that would be two, Winnipeg and Vancouver. And Winnipeg might be able to get in on that. There's not too many teams, like the Penguins might have, again, they're interdivision. A lot of the interdivision teams would be interested. Ottawa would be interested, I imagine. I think they're looking more righty, but they could use defensemen. Nashville, after trading away Ekholm, like I imagine Nashville is not going to, I don't know if they're going to do a complete teardown rebuild or not. Buffalo could be interested in Provorov for sure. They've got such a green defense. Oh, no, because Dahlin's a lefty, isn't he? Oh, no, he's righty. Oh, you can play both. Yeah, I think Buffalo would be interested. Well, you guys come in now. I've already did all my picks. late, guys. So if you want to talk about a game, let me know. I'm going long today. I have time. Right now, I'm just looking at like Provorov of Philadelphia is apparently taking calls on Provorov. That's the one thing, though. Provorov, I think, still has that I'm not wearing the rainbow color thing over his head. I don't know if Vancouver would be all over that. Winnipeg would be fine with it, though. They wouldn't give a shit. Again, yeah, the Jonathan Quick trade, I just think that's a terrible thing. I don't know how that's going to affect the overall roster, to tell you the honest truth. I mean, just the mindset that we traded Jonathan Quick for a goaltender that probably isn't going to bring us a cup is probably better than what they have. But is he the guy? I mean, I know he's played really well since he came back from injury. And maybe he's just going to go off and show what he was always supposed to be before he was injured. It's not a bad look. I just think giving Jonathan Quick up to, I mean, without telling him, the guy didn't even sign a no-trade clause with you. It kind of makes you feel like he was trusting that he didn't have to. And apparently, he is pissed. And I don't blame him. I don't blame him. It doesn't even sound like they talked to him about it either, which is just, Now, that being said, it was Blake that did it, who is friends with Quick. Or, well, you know, was ex-teammates of Quick. So, really weird thing. I've never seen a guy, like, trade a legend like that in that way to a team that obviously has got to be trading him as well. And I think he'll be going to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh seems good. They got Jari there, who is a great goaltender, but he has problems mentally staying. I think he has like anxiety issues, big games. He tends to fail and fall down and not do well. And I could see him going there and hoping that he can say some talk, help him be able to play in those big games and you know, not get over anxious or whatever it is that he does. Because, I mean, we've seen it a few times where Jari just, that one playoff, was it against the Islanders? I mean, he couldn't stop nothing. It was so brutal. He was so far off his game, it was ridiculous. So maybe that helps out. Nick Jensen, $3 million. $3 million. Oh my gosh. That's a lot for Jensen. 4 years, 4 times. I don't know. 4-year, $10 million extension. Oh, it's not bad. 2 point something. It's okay. Bukestad will be traded. The Rangers acquiring Patrick Kane. Okay, yeah. So there's a few things here. People are like, wow, they got nothing for Patrick Kane. Well, he was only going to New York. Like, what leverage do you have? It's not like you can call up another team and say, the Rangers have offered me this much, so, you know, there's nobody to call. Patrick Kane put him in I think the only leverage that Chicago had was we just won't trade him this year. So they wanted at least a chance to get a first-round pick. If they make it to the conference finals, it would be a 2024 top 10 protected or 2025 top 10 protected pick. Bad news for Chicago, I don't think they're making the conference finals. I don't think they're getting by Toronto, and I don't think they're getting by Boston. So it's probably a second-round pick. Why? because Kane is just not a good 5-on-5 player. The Rangers are still not a good 5-on-5 team, and most of the game is played 5-on-5. That's why. Just don't take penalties against the Rangers. Play a solid defensive game, a full, all three zone game like Carolina does. Toronto has gotten much better at, and Boston destroys that, and you're beating the Rangers. So, in Carolina's case, goaltending could let them down. The Ranger, maybe Shesterkin goes on an absolute disgusting run or something like that, but I can see that, of course. He's Shesterkin, but I think that still has to happen. I don't think this Kane trade changes that at all. The Oilers acquiring Matthias Ekholm, beautiful move. Beautiful. Best move they've made in ages. They actually have a defenseman that can play defense now. Wow. I wonder do they only need one? That's the thing I wonder. Do they only need one? I guess we're about to find out, because they only have one still. And I guess that's it. I'm going to call it a day. That was a long trek. I was waiting for some people to come in, but people didn't come in. So I'll talk to you later. Have a great day, everybody. Okay, bye.